Are you looking for a great beer in Iowa? Look no further than iowahasgoodbeer.com to find the calendar of brewery events, blog posts, and t-shirts. And for the most current updates, follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Iowa Has Good Beer. Check out episode 112 of our podcast where Dave and Rob talk about StrideBox, liquor, and of the weeks. Episode 112 coming up right now on Run Iowa. All right, Dave, how are you doing?
Better than you.
That's right. We won't get into that. But, we got a little spring fever happening right now, I think.
Yeah, well, kind of.
A little stuffy.
Yes.
We're getting some warmer weather.
Allergy stuff going on, being out in the cold.
About 2 weeks ago, I had to take some allergy pills. We had that stretch, that little run. Mm-hmm. And, oh, man, I was like, already? It's February.
I take them
and
every
now March.
day,
yeah.
all year round.
I can't do it. I'm not going to let myself. I'm just going to will spring to be here, and then...
Good luck with that.
All right, so we want to talk a little bit, if you saw our YouTube channel or runiowa.org, you saw the unboxing of our StrideBox.
Yes.
That we got, subscription box service. So we were just going to go through some of the things that we split it up and kind of... this one had some edibles in it and some non-edibles, and so we're just going to talk about those real quick, and what do we think?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. So we have the list here from the box. If you looked at the video, you saw, first of all, you saw everything on our unboxing. But there was a card that came with it that kind of explained everything that was in the box, and that comes with every single subscription box you get.
Right.
And so you are able to see what is coming in each of the boxes you receive. So we did not get... We're not on a recurring cycle right now.
Right.
So this was just a test box for us, but we did get some cool stuff. I'll start with the Health Warrior bar. It was a chai bar, and it was Mexican chocolate, and I had that. And I used it more. It could be used before or after your run. I used it as a before run, kind of as a snack kind of deal to get me ready a good hour before I did go for a little jog. And first of all, it was delicious. I did not expect it to be yummy. But it was. That's a technical term. Yummy.
Yummy.
Yeah. But it was very good. It was what you expect from a protein bar. So it kind of had that chewy, tougher aspect to it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it wasn't bad. It was by no means a bad taste at all. And so I enjoyed it. It was very good, and I feel like it gave me energy, as it should have. The description of it was originally funded with a Kickstarter campaign. And the proceeds from that bar go to Operation Farm and Run to help restore farms and create financial support for the Terra Humera. So check it out at StrideBox.com/healthwarrior. Retails 15 bars for $16. So very good.
Cool.
What do you got?
So the first one that I had was I did the Cliff energy gels.
You've never had those before.
Right. Yeah. So, what can you say? Cliff gels or Cliff gels?
Right, yeah.
And it was hard for me because I'm not partial to strawberry.
So can I ask you, are you normally a gel guy?
And no, I don't really care for them either.
Do you use the goos or anything?
I usually try to drink a beverage that has it. I don't... that and some of the chews... the power chews and jelly beans and all those. I like those better.
Yeah.
The goos, man, they just sit hard.
Yeah.
My stomach doesn't like them. But anyway, with that being said, I did the strawberry gel and it was fine. It's good. It tastes like strawberries. So it did everything.
Did what it was supposed to. It gave you that little shot of energy.
Yeah. I went in with, I don't care for these, and I don't like strawberry.
So I'm glad I gave that to you.
But if you like them, it was good, and it's not so bad. If I knew I was doing something and that was going to be my energy supplement of choice, I could live with it.
So I like the fact, and maybe we'll recap it here in a little bit, but I like the fact that they gave us some things that are pretty commonplace and then some things that aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing I had was the Barnana, which were little chews, bites, banana bites. It was basically peanut butter wrapped around a banana.
Yeah.
And it was not a dried banana necessarily. It wasn't wholly dried out. Sorry, I'm not talking into the microphone. It wasn't wholly dried out. I 100% used it as a mid-afternoon snack.
Right.
I didn't use it for a run at all. I accidentally ate them all really quickly, and I don't know that I was supposed to, but I assumed it's banana and it's
good
and it's peanut butter and it's delicious.
Right.
So I am a huge fan of these. They are $24 for 12 packets, so a case of them for $24. Which really isn't that bad. They come, I think it's probably, I would guess, between 10 and 12 bites in a bag. And they were really good. I enjoyed it, and just as a snack. So I apologize, Barnana, that I didn't use it pre or post run.
Sure.
It was really good.
The second one that I had was the Spring Energy Recovery Bar, and it wasn't a bar; it was a pasty kind of goo stuff. It was good. It was the consistency. Again, I go back to the Cliff Energy gels. Yeah. They're definitely easier for me than the goos. Those goos are really thick, and the Spring Energy's about the same consistency as that. But it's high protein, high calories, a really good finish after a workout. So I did it after Ryan and I think we did, I think I did 7 or 8 and he did 13 or something like that.
Sure.
So, and it was hilly, so it was good. Definitely something that you could find a liking to.
Sure.
And it took care of feeling that sometimes we don't get to eat right away after we work out. So if that's the case, you work out, you have to go to work, or you have kids events going on or whatever, and you need something to kind of replenish that lost energy protein stuff, this does the shot.
So in the description it says one of the things it does is help promote inflammation. Or, I'm sorry, help, not promote, I'm sorry. That would be bad. Helping with inflammation.
Yes.
Did you see that at all, or were you inflamed at all?
No, I wasn't inflamed.
Okay.
But maybe you should try some.
Maybe I should. I don't know. You ate it all. They run $18 for 6 packets on that retail wise. So if you're keeping track, the StrideBox is only about, I believe we said it was $15. I better go back and check that. You can check it out on our video. But already, with the samples that we're getting, we've already hit the retail value.
Sure.
For the what you're getting in there. So that's a good deal in itself. The next thing I had was nice and simply, it was just a lip balm. It's called All Good SPF 15 lip balm. And it was the chai flavor. And to be honest with you, I used it that day. And then both my girls got it. And they loved it. And I haven't seen it since. And so my assumption is I don't use a whole ton of lip balm anyway. But I understand the necessity when you're going on long runs, especially in types of weather like we're in now, coming out of the cold, going into the drier weather. And so I understand it, and I would have been very appreciative, but I can tell you my 7 and my 4-year-olds loved it. So, and they love lip balm, chapstick type stuff. So
awesome.
And that's usually about $3.50 too.
Yep. And then the last one was the Essentials Flock. If I can't, I'm not.
StrideLock.
Jeez, I don't have my glasses.
New brand name for you, folks. Flocks.
StrideLock.
StrideLock.
So they're no tie elastic knotted.
Right,
laces.
they were the knotted laces, the yellowy ones. Yeah.
Yep. So if you've seen them, they're really cool.
Yeah.
You kind of gotta have to think how you're going to use them.
Sure.
Because they're different. The concept's different.
Right.
I just put them in a pair of New Balance regular running shoes that I have, and they work well. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I still tied them at the end, so because it felt like that as you run. They're knotted, so that knot pulls through the eye.
If go back and look at the video, it's on our, like I said, our YouTube and our website, and you can see we weren't sure what it was at first before I found the card.
So I didn't want to alter them and cut them off or do anything like like you can, and they're good. They do the job. They're elasticy. They have some stretch to them, so. I think for people, especially somebody who's like a triathlete or something, where putting shoes on and off quickly,
right,
and that it's a benefit because you're not lacing them, or tying, and have to go through that. You can just stretch and they give, so they hold the shoe on, but they're not like super tight.
Well, I'll compare. I've talked about my Yanks before, which are kind of the same thing. I don't know exactly the setup of that because you have them on your shoes, but they're basically laces for no tie shoes.
Right.
And so I put them on my Brooks, and I've worn them hundreds of times now, and they're fantastic. I'm a big fan of no string shoes anyway. So when I have a set of strings that allow me to run still, that's awesome. So I'm assuming these do the same thing.
Yep.
And so these run at $10 a pair for a pair of laces for your shoes.
And I think it's for somebody who's looking for something different to eliminate that.
Yeah.
Having to tie my shoe or be fast on and off, or just because it's cool. $10 is a pretty good price.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was our StrideBox. I believe there was a sticker that came with it too.
Yeah, I don't remember what the sticker was. Sorry, whoever gave us the sticker.
Yeah, so go back, check out the opening of the box, and overall, based on what we both kind of saw, I have decided this already. Like, this is not just me saying this, but I've decided if anybody ever wants to get me a gift, I want them to give me a subscription box.
Right.
And so I would absolutely tell somebody StrideBox for me. After this experience.
They're cool. Yeah, StrideBox, it's a cool thing. There's, I guess the advice is there's a lot of different of these type of boxes out there.
Subscription boxes are huge right now.
Yeah, there's bunches of them. So shop around. Don't get locked into one thing. Find what you like. They range in prices from
it's $15.
$15 up to, depending on what you're getting and what you're looking for. Some of them are 75, 80.
Oh, yeah.
And
StrideBox is 15. I'm sure there might be a couple cheaper.
Yep.
But yeah, depending on what you're looking at.
Yeah, and just read through what they do, because they're all geared differently. So like StrideBox it's giving you samples of stuff that you wouldn't necessarily go and buy.
Yeah, by no means would I have ever bought Barnanas.
Right.
But I like them.
So it's cool. I don't know. Do you wish? Would you say too bad it's not a little more expensive, so you would have had more than one sample of everything?
Get 2 samples of everything?
Whatever it might be.
Yes and no. From the business standpoint, I completely understand why they send you the one, right? Because it's easier for them to do that.
Right.
From my standpoint, if I like something, now I'm more apt to go buy that if I see it, which I would assume is part of the business aspect of it as well. And if you're a company that's putting into a subscription box, that's what you're hoping, is somebody has your product and then goes out and gets it. Yeah, I can see that. But for like the gels, you don't like gels, and all of a sudden you have 4 gels in every box.
Right.
Then you're going to feel like, I'm not getting my money's worth or something like that.
And then that's the thing is, like, I did one for golf apparel.
Yeah.
And it's I'd still be doing it if it was $15. But and it's not. But I was getting a shirt to wear, and I could wear the shirt, 4 or 5 times and not feel bad.
Yeah.
Of getting rid of the shirt if I didn't like it, because I had another box. So I had another
right.
So that kind of thing.
First world
This
problems.
you're subscribing, and they are selecting what's going into the box.
Yeah.
And so you might have a box one month that, this is awesome. I like everything, and another box like, I don't want any of this stuff.
Right.
And
but I think that allows you to, especially with this card, it tells you how to get every product.
Right.
And I would assume the golf thing's probably saying they probably came with something that says here are the products.
And I'm just looking at it, and you were the StrideBox guy.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if, just looking at it, maybe if you went to the website and did that I'm a subscriber, and I have a number, so I could go to them and say, okay, I love the Spring Energy.
Oh, yeah.
And I get a discount because I'm buying it through StrideBox.
Sure.
Because they have a relationship with the company, so the company's going to give you 10% off. That would make it a really, really cool deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Great idea. Check them out, StrideBox.com. Again, it's about $15. I'll get you, I think it's like $14.99. $15 plus shipping. for each box, and they are shipped on the 26th of each month. And you can do it in multi-month subscriptions and stuff like that.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I might just do that just for myself. Yeah. But hey, if any of you want to get me a gift, I'm just saying, that's what I'm going to start to tell people, subscription boxes.
Right.
We are going to go ahead and post also, I did an unboxing for Compete Crate and their running themed box. I'll post that on our YouTube and our website, RunIowa.org as well. And then come back in the next episode with a review of their products. That was more clothing centered, and so when I filled out the paperwork, I was greedy and made it all my sizes, so it's just me. Sorry, Dave.
That's fine.
He's crying right now. Not really, he's not. But he had the golf one anyway. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's it for that. We're going to take a break, come back, and talk more drinking and running after this on episode 112 of the Run Iowa podcast.
If you had to pick a beer to drink after a run, what would it be, Rob?
Well, if you want to find an Iowa beer to drink after a run, check out iowahasgoodbeer.com. They have a calendar of brewery events for all the breweries across the state, in addition to blog posts, a listing of Iowa beer festivals, beer education materials, and t-shirts.
Awesome.
You can follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for even more updates at Iowa Has Good Beer, and check out the website, iowahasgoodbeer.com. Now, on with the show. And thanks again to our sponsor for the month of March, iowahasgoodbeer.com. And got me thinking about beer.
Yeah, I think about beer frequently at this time of day.
I have a couple buddies. Obviously, we're beer snobs. We're not beer snobs at all. But he's from the Kansas City area, and he likes to bring me up Kansas City beer, and I like to get him Nebraska beer or Iowa beer or whatever. And so we were trying out a whole bunch of stuff this weekend, and I thought, we obviously like beer, so why not talk about beer on the podcast?
That's awesome.
So, Dave, what is your favorite? I'm going to start with this. Your favorite post beer or drink, other than your typical recovery drinks, like other than your Gatorade or whatever.
If it's just a run recovery drink,
let me rephrase. What's your favorite post race beer? Whatever free.
Well, that I usually do that, but it's a lot of times it's not very good.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I've been on a few, and it's like, oh, here's your water beer.
Yeah. And so usually when I get done right after a race, I just want water, Gatorade, pretty simple. And then shortly after that, I like good bourbon with a splash of sour in it.
Okay.
And a little.
You went straight to top shelf stuff.
Yep. So that's what I like. That does me good. Takes care of the leg pains.
I've just recently gotten into more whiskeys and bourbons and things like that. And I actually, a friend of mine brought me some Cut Spike. Have you ever had Cut Spike?
No, I just bought some because I knew you had some.
That's right. And it's very good, very smooth. I like
Single
mine.
barrel.
Yep, I like mine with just a splash of water. I heard that's good with your whiskey. You don't want to water it down with ice.
Mm-hmm.
And typically it's hard, if you're especially new, it's harder to drink straight with no ice, no nothing.
Right.
And of course, if you're going to, there you go. Thank you. I'm learning. And if you're going to ruin your whiskey with pop, don't do it.
I drink. My wife likes bourbon.
Sure.
A good friend of ours, he likes bourbon, so we drink bourbon frequently.
Can I ask you? I'm going to be the ignorant guy. And for anybody not prolific in drinking liquors and alcohols, I apologize, but I'm going to ask: difference between whiskey, Scotch, and bourbon.
It basically comes down to
where it's made,
ingredients, and how it's so Scotch is
only in Scotland.
Should be only in Scotland, and they use barrels that have been recycled from American whiskey or bourbon oak casks.
Is bourbon only from Kentucky?
Well, it used to be only from Bourbon County, Kentucky, but now it's the recipe, the percentage of grains versus corn versus the other grains they add to it.
Okay.
And so you have to be, I can't remember the number, but it's like 90% has to be corn based to be bourbon. So like your ryes and stuff that use rye, instead of that, they're whiskeys.
Okay.
But originally when it was bourbon, it had a recipe, and then it had to be from Bourbon County, Kentucky was the largest county in the United States at one time, and it was the whole state of Kentucky.
I did not know that. Yeah.
So now Bourbon County, Kentucky is small, and it's east of Louisville, and it is dry.
Okay. So Bourbon's dry.
No, it's a dry county.
It's
Bourbon County, Kentucky it was 10, 12 years ago.
Okay.
It was a dry county. So that's my understanding of the bourbons. So you can get bourbon technically now that's not from Kentucky, but bourbon comes from Kentucky.
So you're good with a good glass of bourbon.
Yeah.
With a splash of
I like soda. a little sour.
Sour.
Yep. Just a little. And so you said that don't wreck good bourbon with soda.
Soda, yeah.
And
I'm thinking in college you go to the bar, you get a Diet Coke and rum.
Yeah. You can tell the difference in if you like Coke and bourbon, you can tell good bourbon from just because I'm adding Coke to it doesn't make the bad bourbon better.
True.
If it's done right, sometimes you get them and it's like a ton of Coke and a little bourbon and you don't taste the bourbon, period.
Right.
But no, I like good bourbons. I think I have 12 different kinds at home right now.
So, first of all, I did not know that, so I need to come visit just for that purpose. And I'll bring some of my whiskeys because I accidentally got hooked on whiskey, and I say that, and that's not supposed to sound like that, but I accidentally drank my first whiskey for real when I was in Ireland, and we had Jameson. We did the Jameson tour, my wife and I, and part of the tour at the very end was a tasting, and you get Jameson, but you also get 6 other whiskeys to taste and to compare, and it has your Jack and your everything.
Right.
And I think there was maybe a Scotch in there too. I don't remember.
Right.
Because there was 6 of them.
Right.
And so, but that was the first time, and so I liked still Jameson. It's kind of one of my favorite go-to whiskeys. But I'm also obviously from Iowa, and I grew up in Carroll. I think I've mentioned that before. Templeton, Iowa is very close. Templeton Rye. I've had the original stuff, not legally. Whoops, I shouldn't have said that.
Right.
But I've had that, and that's your moonshine. That's the real hard stuff. Is something else. But then the new Templeton Rye, which is obviously we've heard about the whole bottling debacle, and now Templeton is making their own distillery. I don't know if it's done yet. Apologize, Templeton, Iowa. But I'm also a fan of when we have get-togethers, I'll bring a bottle of Templeton. That's an easy one to bring. So I enjoy that as well. Because I know a lot of people that, especially in our group of friends, they won't drink not Jack, Jameson.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know. It's just not.
I can't drink Scotch. I mean, I might as well drink turpentine to drink Scotch myself.
Now I don't have a Scotch that I'll drink. Necessarily.
I just stay away from it. But just speaking of bourbons and whiskeys and that, we bought some bourbon, or I did the other day. Laura was out of town, and so I was shopping on my own and doing stuff, and I went to Trader Joe's.
Yeah, sure.
And this looks good, and it was like $12 a bottle, and it was Trader Joe's bourbon, and it is rumor. I researched it just to see because it's their label.
Yeah,
and it is. Yeah, we really liked it because it went well with Coke, and so we drank up a bottle.
Nice. I want to go to. Well, first of all, I didn't know that much about you,
right?
And the whiskey and the bourbon, and so I learned something.
So I went to bourbon school.
Yeah. Go ahead, explain that. We talked about that off air.
So my ex mother-in-law grew up in Jim Beam's house in Bardstown, Kentucky, and which is south of Louisville. So he was a master distiller and distilled for Maker's Mark and several other ones there. So one summer we went down and visited her family, and her brother-in-law says, "Hey, the church is having bourbon school." And so we went one night and...
Hold on. The sentence was, the church is having bourbon school. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So, the good old Catholics.
Right.
So we went down to the parish in Louisville, and they had 4 master distillers from Woodford Reserve. Yep. And we sat around and drank all their products and compared them to Jack and... Not Jack, because Jack's not a bourbon, so they weren't allowed into Kentucky. But Jim Beam,
Jack's whiskey.
Yeah. So we drank several different types, and the company that owns Woodford just purchased Seagram's or somebody, I don't know. It's
Okay.
One big company bought up all these alcohols, so they had other stuff there, but it was
Sure.
all about how bourbon's made and what it should taste like and why they do specific things and the difference between blended and at the time.
So it was more than a tour.
Yeah, no, way more. Jack Daniels was going, and their big thing was we don't blend our whiskey,
Right.
and the Woodford's like all of our stuff is blended, so we have a consistent taste profile.
Sure.
So when we are charging premiums and you want your bourbon to taste like this, it will always taste that way.
Huh. That's so. When we started this conversation, I just want to say this. I just literally threw this out there because I had a friend from St. Louis come up and brought me some beer.
Right.
I did not. I've known you for what, 8 years,
Right.
something like that. 9. Well, I've been teaching 9 now, so
Yeah, 9 years.
and I did not know any of that.
That was
That's
the prior life before you came around.
That's crazy. So let's go test some bourbons later.
Yeah.
Okay. I do want to talk about beer too, because obviously with our sponsor
Right.
this week, Iowa's Good Beer. I do want to mention that obviously we know the bigger breweries and Exile and Confluence and all those
Right.
guys, and the newer, smaller ones that are coming up and coming
Yeah.
as well. I just had this on my phone, so give me just a second. I just had it pulled up. I was at our local watering hole and I posted this on the internet. There it is right there. The Pseudo Sue that Brad Danes, who's a listener, enjoys. I tried some of that and it was fantastic. A little citrusy, but I still drink it pretty
That's
quick.
what gets us. I don't mind if the citrusy is on the lemon orange side. I'm
Right.
cool. When
Yeah.
it gets to the watermelony or
Yeah.
watermelony,
The melon.
or grapefruit.
Grapefruit,
So,
yeah.
IPAs kind of get sometimes a little more grapefruity. I have a hard time with those.
I'm a fan of IPAs in general, and I did like this, by the way. The Pseudo Sue. But my hometown, Carroll, speaking of, they've just built a new brewery in town, and I know the building, like I can picture it where it's at and all this good stuff in my hometown. So I'm kind of looking forward to going back and just trying that out once I hear some reviews or whatnot. Hopefully it sticks around, and I think we talked a little bit about Templeton Ryan, their distillery they're getting as well. So lots of things popping up. I will say, let's do this. Give me your favorite Iowa beer, and then maybe local beer if you have something, Nebraska, since you kind of technically went back to living over there.
Not technically.
No, you did. And then the reason I bring that up, Exile Ruthies are like a staple for us. Whenever we see them, we usually get them for my wife and I at our house, and so that's one of our favorite locals. I will also mention the Omaha Brickway because we're over here on the west side. Brickway's a favorite. We've talked about them before. If we have company coming over, usually I'll get some Brickway or even Lucky Bucket, which is another one from Nebraska.
And it's funny, I never think of Lucky Bucket as being a micro brewery because it's so prevalent around.
It's becoming a little bit bigger, especially here now in our area. It's a lot of places. But I wanted to bring up the Missouri one I had too. My buddy brought up from Kansas City area. It's from Cinder Block Brewery. It's called Withered Wit. It's a heffy kind of taste, and I'm a big fan of that. And it was delicious. He brought me another one too. What was the one he brought me? Urban Underdog. It was from Urban Chestnut Brewing Company out of St. Louis. Solely because it's from St. Louis and I hate the Cardinals, I did not like that beer.
Really?
No, that's not really. I wasn't a fan of that one. I don't know why. What made it different? Well, I mean, I know what made it different. It was a different style of beer, but for whatever reason, I just didn't enjoy that one. But I really did like the Weathered Wit out of Cinder Block in North Kansas City.
Cool.
So, all right, your favorite beers?
I kind of like the Cake Creek Brewery in Glenwood.
Oh, nice.
And their stuff.
That's really local. Yeah.
So they have two that I like. Is when they have them on tap, and I'm looking at their website.
Sure.
So they have them right now. Is the Wabash Wheat? I kind of like wheat beers.
Yeah.
Can't drink too much of it though. It's like my sinuses, allergies, and stuff. Too much.
I'm a fan of wheats.
And then their stout is really good.
Well, we're getting into stout season here with St. Patty's Day this weekend.
I did that.
Yeah. I told you about Ireland. We did the Ireland. Yeah. We did everything Ireland. And Guinness is a great
tried to put a dent in the local Guinness supply
Yeah.
last week. So.
Oh, nice. Okay, so those are our thoughts for our beer picks and bourbon and whiskey and scotch and everything else in between. And so let us know what you drink. What's your favorite after run or maybe pre-run drink?
Right.
If you're going to do a beer mile, I hear, though, you got to do a light beer like a Heineken or something light,
I'm sure.
obviously. So we got to try a beer mile. Should we do that?
Sure.
Let's do it. All right. So tell us what your favorite Iowa local beer is in our social media sites or at runiowa.org.
That'd be awesome.
All right. We'll be back with tips and of the weeks here in just a moment. Episode 112 of the Run Iowa podcast. All right. It's time for the of the weeks. Dave, I'm going to have you start off with the tips.
Tips of the week. Excuse me. I have 10 ways to improve your technique.
Okay.
And I have to...
Like running technique,
Yes,
right?
running technique. And I have to... I don't know, is it a caveat to that? It's really only 5 tips.
This is my confused look sound.
Yes, because it's a tip. The first tip is this is what you shouldn't do. The second tip is this is what you should do in place of what you shouldn't do. So when I was researching it, so it says don't do this, and you'll get them. I'll go real quick through these. So 10 ways to improve your technique. Don't be a heel striker. That jars your knees, your ankles, your hips, and on long runs builds up fatigue. You should train yourself to be a midsole strider. Lowers the impact and actually more efficient.
Sorry, forefoot.
Didn't say anything about that. Number 2, no long strides. When you see people who outrun and they're really long striders, that's actually really efficient because when you're overstriding, it compresses your legs on impact and you have a lot more wasted energy. And to take a long stride, you get a lot more vertical moving up and down.
Right.
So that's not...
You actually you told me that with like our first 3 months of running. You told me that because I told you I felt like I wasn't striding far enough. And you said, short steps are not bad because you're not bouncing up and down as much. And I'm like, whatever. It's just Dave. I'll never talk to him again.
So work on, you want to have a good stride. You don't want to have a little tiny compact stride that's rolling over too fast. But you want to be efficient and not have wasted motion. The third tip is if your shoes are comfy, they're too comfy. And I thought, that's interesting. And the idea is that shoes shouldn't eliminate our body's necessity to strengthen all the muscles and joints to do what they're supposed to do. Sure. So if you have too comfortable shoes, it might, for example, cause your arch to become weak because your arch muscles aren't doing what they're supposed to because the shoe is taking away that responsibility. Or same with the muscles around our knees and our hips. That having shoes that do too much is not a good thing.
Can I add one thing? I used to be a basketball coach, and I know you used to coach and stuff too. One of the clinics I went to, the first thing he said was stop taping everybody's ankles because it's actually weakening their ankles.
Absolutely.
And I did some research into it. I actually 100% fell in love with that idea, is that sometimes people put the handicaps onto themselves by weakening joints and things like that. And so I'm 100%. I'm not opposed to it if you need it. If you legit need the support, go for it. But if you're just wrapping because you heard wrapping your ankles or whatever is good for you, that's
wearing
usually
those extra cushiony shoes because it's better might be causing you in the long term.
In the long term, it's probably
more damage than pain.
That's one of my thoughts on my road shoes. Are typically lighter, thinner shoes because I want my feet to build up. Now, granted, I know whatever research you're going to find fighting research on it, but my trail shoes are thicker soled, so I don't get cut by a rock. My road shoes are typically lighter shoes. Sorry. Anyway, go ahead.
And the fourth tip is don't run hard. Just because you can run fast doesn't mean you should run as fast as you can. Your form and all your technique breaks down when you start running hard. So you want to be in that comfort zone of 70-80% where you can concentrate on your form, good posture and all that stuff that we know we should do, and work on our stride and land on our midsole and all those things. And you can't do that when you're trying to run as hard as you can all the time. And then the last tip, number 5, throw out the odometer and pay attention to time. And along with the tip before that, they talked about using a heart rate monitor and a stopwatch. That should be your determining factor of how hard you're working and how efficiently you're
Dave,
doing
I like
that.
keeping track of my miles on my steps.
And everybody does, and it's important to know to log those things, but the odometer isn't the driving force. It should be your times and your heart rate.
Yep. Cool.
Those are the tips.
Those are it, and you can find those on our website. We'll throw them up on the episode guide at runiowa.org. Time for me to do the race of the week, and I'm going to do it for one last time.
One last time.
This is it. I promise you. I'll never do this race again, mainly because they're not going to have this race anymore. I'm going to do the Dam to Dam. Registration actually opens on yesterday. This show's going out on Thursday, the 14th? 15th.
Yep, 15th.
And so registration opened yesterday. And it's the last Dam to Dam 39 forever. You find information at damtodam.com. We've talked about it probably 1,000 times. We both like this race.
Yep.
We've done this race. Have you done it multiple times? I forgot.
No, just one time. Yep.
I've done it multiple times. Ryan's done it a few times. My wife's done it multiple times. We were going to do it one more time this year, and I have had every intention of doing it. My daughter is graduating preschool that day.
Yeah.
And so, to go into kindergarten, which is a milestone for her.
Sure.
And so
we didn't know she'd make it.
I know it was tough. We had a lot of talks with the counselors. And, but so I'm not going to make it. And I'm kind of sad about it, but I understand, and it should be a good time for those that are. Yeah. Right now, let me start over. For the first 39 days of registration, starting yesterday, it's $39.
That's awesome.
To get in. And it's the original 20K distance.
Right.
And so there are no other races. Like they're not going to do the mile or the kids run or the kids mile or the half. It's the 20K.
Going old school.
After that, after April 21st, it'll be $55 until May 19th. After May 19th, it'll be $70 and no registration after Tuesday, May 29th. The race itself is on June the 2nd, my anniversary. And buy me a subscription box for my anniversary. But this will be the last one, so go out there and do it if you've never done it. It's a fun race. It really is a good race.
It is. It's a lot of fun. It's a beautiful course.
It's a beautiful course. And I think, unfortunately, it was done... Let me rephrase that. It was done by volunteers forever.
Right.
And unfortunately, I think it just got too big for the crew that was doing it.
Right.
So hopefully, you go out this race and have a great time.
Yep. It'd be well worth it.
damtodam.com and other... on social media, it's out there. I believe it's Dam to Dam 1980 on Twitter.
Yes.
So, okay. Check it out. We'll be back. Wrap things up right after this in episode 112. That's it. This is it for that show.
Awesome.
We'll get a guest next time. Let's do that again.
That would be fun.
That will be fun. If you have ideas for guests, you want us to talk to somebody, let us know. We're always up for suggestions. We'll get them penciled in. If you would like to sponsor our podcast, you can contact us as well at our social media sites or Rob RunIowa or Dave RunIowa at gmail.com. And we will hook you up with some sponsorship opportunities and all of that good stuff.
Right. Absolutely.
And more importantly, enjoy your running.
Absolutely.
Like, even if you don't listen to us.
Right. Get out there and enjoy a good run.
Right. The weather's starting to turn. If you're a fair weather runner, which is fine, get out now. It was
still cold this morning.
Was it? A little chilly?
Yeah. So I ran the building.
Oh yeah.
Stairs.
You missed that. Yeah. Go run in your office, bro. Tell us how that goes. I'd love to hear how that goes. Do all that. Enjoy your runs, everybody.
Happy trails.